Okay, so we're going to look at more on how to solve an inequality. So let's quickly review. We already talked a little bit about this, but we need to know a couple of things. So of course we need to know what the inverse operation. So the inverse operation for add is subtract. The inverse for subtract is add. The inverse for multiply is divide. And the inverse of division is multiply. And we're going to need to know that because we have to undo the operation, and we do that by doing the opposite. Another thing that we need to know, 2 reasons why we flip, and I'm going to just put it right here in this little box. 2 reasons why we flip. Of course, if my variable is not first, so if I have something like this, we have to make sure that my variable is flipped or on the left hand side. So I'm going to pick up the whole thing and I'm going to flip it over. So in this case it should look like that. Okay, that's one reason why we flip. And 2, if we multiply or divide by a negative. If we multiply or divide by a negative number, we flip. So those are the 2 reasons why we flip. The last and most important thing is how we graph. So in this case, again, when we have my greater than my left, that's going to be an open circle. If we have it with a little line underneath it, that's going to be a closed circle. And how you determine which way to graph it, if it's greater than, of course, it's going to go to my right. If it's less than, it's going to go to my left. So make sure you know. Okay, now let's go ahead, let's just look at a few practice problems. I'm going to leave this up here so we can be able to see it as we're practicing. So let's just look at a few of them if we can. So in this case, let's look at the first one. 7x is less than 21. So again, first of all, I'm going to draw my line. It's important because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So in this case, we know when we have 2 things together with no symbol, that means to multiply. The opposite of multiply is divide by 7. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So in this case, 21 divided by 7, I get 3. So in this case, x is less than 3. And I'm going to just draw a little number line so we can practice on our number line. So we already know that based off my top, we know that it's going to be an open circle. My 3 is going to be an open circle. And we're going to shade, because it's less than, we're going to shade to the left. So I'm going to shade my line to the left. Let's go ahead, let's look at the next one. So in this case, we got 2 plus x is greater than or equal to 6. Again, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And we need to know what my inverse. The inverse of plus 2 is take away 2. Take away 2. This cancels out, so x is greater than or equal to 4. Now, let's go ahead, let's go back to my number line. So in this case, it has a line underneath it, so we know that my circle is going to be closed. And then it's greater than, so I'm going to shade to the right. And there goes my number line. Let's try 1 or 2 more and then we'll stop there. And I'll leave you with some practice problems on the right hand side to try by yourself. So let's go ahead, let's look at these last 2 really quickly. So again, the same process, same step. The opposite of take away 12 is plus 12, plus 12. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. This cancels out. So x is greater than 16. And we know this is true because, again, we can look at what we know. So if this is x is greater than 16, that's saying that 16 is not part of my answer. Can it be 17? Yes. Can it be 18? Yes. Can it be 19? And keep on going, yes and yes. Let's go ahead and graph it. I have my number line. Again, based off my inequalities, when it doesn't have the line underneath it, it's going to be open. And I'm going to shade it to the right. Okay, let's look at the last one, and then again, I'm going to leave these as practice for you to try. So in this case, we're doing the exact same thing. Normally, the problem would be set up like this. So just to make sure that you are aware of how you might see the problem, this is how you might see it, okay? Remember that this little line means divide. So the opposite of divide is multiply by 5, multiply by 5. So x is less than or equal to 100. And again, I know this is true by graphing it. So in this case, it's going to be a closed circle, and we're shading it to the left. I'm going to pull it back up to the top, and I'm going to let you try these other questions by yourself. Let me know how you do.